呢個世界真係好唔公平，點解壓榨窮人嘅人可以賺咁多錢，做錯事嘅人只要後來信耶穌，好似一切就一筆勾銷。
Why does a person who seems to be the one who gives destruction and damage, the evil one or the fool, why do they seem to get away with it? Do they get away with it? There is a scene in the shack when Papa God and Mackenzie are going up the mountain, and they're talking about forgiveness. And at one point, Mackenzie turns to God and says, "So, they just get away with it?" And that's the question that is behind this conversation. Do they just get away with it? And God says, Mackenzie, nobody gets away with anything. Sometimes we have a sense that God, He's too soft on sin, especially the kinds of hurt that we have experienced. God is not soft on anything that is part of the damage of the human creation at all. Nobody gets away with anything. Sin is its own devastation. I think sometimes we have too small a view of the impact of sin. Sin is not just behavior. Sin is something that is contrary to our origin, contrary to the image of God that we are created in. It is something that violates that which is good and right and beautiful. Sin is the damage of the human heart. It is the image of God betrayed. And a lot of our questions about do people get away with it is stuck inside this little world of our time. We want God to judge them now. We don't want God to be graceful. We don't want God to be calling them back. You know the thief that was on the cross that Jesus turns and says, "Today you will be with me"? What about all the people that he hurt his whole life? Well, for one, he's on a cross. I mean, he's not getting away with anything. Eventually, he has to deal with it. Everyone will eventually have to deal with it. There are many words in the Greek for judgment, and one that is used for day of judgment, and it's also used for there is appointed for a time a person to die, and after that the judgment. The word judgment is the Greek word krisis. We get our English word crisis from that. That means we are going to have to face the choices that we've made. Every single person does. But in the meantime, let me tell you, those who act without love and kindness and goodness and grace in their lives, trust me, sin is its own judgment. Sin is working a work inside of their heart and inside of their relationships. I know a lot of successful people who at the end of their lives feel absolutely devastated because of the choices that they've made. They may temporarily seem to get away with it. Nobody gets away with anything. And we can count on the justice and the goodness of God who works toward the good of every human being.
如果你想內心嘅苦毒消失，有人同行，可以致電人生熱線81008012。如果你願意支持人生熱線，請致電31086012。奉獻500蚊或以上嘅朋友，可以獲贈作者親筆簽名小說《小屋》一本；奉獻1萬蚊或以上嘅朋友，更獲贈親筆簽名限量版 DIY PAPA 小屋及創世經典10架 USB。多謝大家！